third participation and everything, which is really cool. So it's my pleasure to have a couple of tremendous guests with us today. I first want to introduce Rachel Veldkamp. Rachel, if everybody could just give us a wave, Rachel, so we can see y'all. This is Rachel Veldkamp. She is the broker owner of RE/MAX of Grand Rapids. Rachel has been a coaching client of Workman for, I'm trying to think, 4 years now, Rachel? I'm trying to think if it's 4 years, Cleve. How long have you been working with Rachel?
Rachel's saying 5.
Yeah, it's 5
years. Yeah, she was an early on client. She continues to be a coaching client, but more importantly, Rachel has built a tremendous brokerage. She receives broker accolades, broker of the year, recruiter of the year. I can't keep up with all of the awards she gets from her region of over 100 offices. She continues to set the standard for not only how to build a great culture, but also to how to build a culture around teams. Rachel was one of the first broker owners in the RE/MAX system to bring us in and say, I want my agents to understand how to do teams. So she's not a team reactive broker. I call her team proactive. She's been focused on it. We coach, I don't know how many, more than, I don't know how many agents from her brokerages, from her offices, but it's a lot. And a lot of them are the top producers in the whole system. And they're just a tremendous group. She has tremendous people. She attracts givers and people that are willing to share and collaborate with each other. And it's just a pleasure to have her. And I also invited today, Mr. Cleve Gaddis. Where's Cleve? Give us a wave.
Right here.
Here you go. If you click on speaker view on your control panel, whoever's talking, their video will come up on the screen. Cleve Gaddis is a master coach with Workman Success. He was one of the first people I called when we started the company almost 6 years ago and said, hey, we're going to coach people. And he said, I'm not doing that. And he's become not only a good coach, he's become a phenomenal coach and a very highly sought after coach. If a slot opens up on his calendar, it's immediately filled by another broker owner. Cleve just last week was awarded his master's degree. So he just got his MBA with a special focus on family transitioning and business transitioning. So he helps people and does a lot of our merger acquisition consulting. If one family is selling their business to another family or one team is selling to another team, Cleve's the guy we bring in to help us with the valuation, help us with the transition and the pricing. Cleve also runs a 7-figure team out of Atlanta. So he's very successful in real estate. So besides speaking and coaching and traveling and consulting, he's running an incredible business and he focuses on wealth building. It wouldn't allow him to be able to run the business as he runs if he didn't have a successful team. And so it's really fun to have both Cleve and Rachel. So Cleve is Rachel's coach. So when we get into this today and we talk about things that you can do in your brokerage to be successful and to grow and to create an environment that's not just conducive to team, but attracts the right people, Cleve and Rachel are going to be able to talk firsthand knowledge about that because they're both in the system. They're both with RE/MAX and they both have a tremendous love and respect for the brand. And so it's fun to talk to them about that. I'm showing you my whole slide screen because let me see what happens when I do this here for a second. Play in window. All right. So I also want to remind you now, this has been, I don't want to, well, I'll just show you and then you can decide how you're doing. So we started a competition in the Integra regions, a recruiting competition called Recruiting with Maximum Velocity. And it's really utilizing the time that you have right now. I like to say, don't let a good pandemic go to waste. We have a great crisis going on right now. And I don't mean that in a sarcastic way. I mean that every time that I've had growth or every time that we've had anything that we've really come out of on top of, it's been because of a crisis. And so I don't like crisis, but I definitely look at each crisis as an opportunity to separate myself from everybody else. I look at a crisis as an opportunity to lean into the problem and to serve. And now we have that opportunity with recruiting. So if you haven't registered for this, a bunch of you have registered, but we're not getting a lot of numbers in here. We're giving away at your conference in just, Katie, less than 60 days, we're giving away a DJ Mavic 2 drone. It's about a $2,000 drone. It's a top of the line Mavic 2 Pro, which is unbelievable. We're giving tickets away to R4 and there's a bunch of prizes that are happening. But I want to show you what the leaderboard looks like. Bill, you ready for the leaderboard? So in order to win, you have to go in every Friday and put your numbers in. We gave a very simple way of doing that. And so this is what it looks like. We've had, I think Bill and Angela. Is Angela on the call? Angela, give over here. Let me give you a high five. This is a big high five from Bia and maybe even a COVID-free hug from Verl. Thank you for putting some numbers in there and getting some momentum going. You have a good chance of winning this because there's not a lot of engagement from the brokers. Now, I think brokers are out there recruiting and they're doing their numbers, but they're not putting them in. I will tell you, hey, John, will you Slack me the link to the 120-day listing challenge numbers from just the weekend? I launched a different program with a smaller group of people, and I want to show you what their numbers look like when they're engaged, because it's not that it's hard to do. Is it hard to put the numbers in, Angela? No, you just go fill out the survey, right? You just fill it out, put your numbers in, and you're done. And you know, the results that happens, and I love that we have 2 recruiting appointments set. We have 2 agents that are signed. And if we had everybody just doing that, we would have, that number would be exponentially grown. Bill, thanks for throwing some numbers in there for me, some token numbers. I know that you're doing more than 29 points every single week, but I just need you to go at the end of the week and put them in there. So I'm going to recommit everybody to go in there and putting it. The rules are simply, all you got to do is put daily points in the app. The numbers are going to be verified. So we're going to go and look at them all. And the prizes are going to be won by drawings based on the point categories in each of the areas. It's going to be very easy to go. When you recruit someone, you go in the pot. So whoever has 2 agents recruited has twice as much chance. And Angela, you just keep doing it. And as you keep doing it, you have a high likelihood of winning. Yes.
Bro, could we drop the link to get the app downloaded again? I think sometimes it's a matter of trying to track all the information down again. So if we could follow up with everyone on the call on where they need to put their numbers in.
It's right here. All
okay.
All you're gonna do is you go right here, workmansuccess.com/max velocity. When you register it, you'll immediately get sent the link to the app.
Well, and just to clarify on that, if they just click daily number entry right there on the top right,
yep,
that's where you enter your numbers.
So just so you want to see what it looks like, this is what it looks like. It's crazy simple. So they put their information in, and then it goes in and asks them what their numbers are, puts their scoreboard in. Here's the daily number entry.
Great.
And we just put them in, put your name in, and then number of conversions, number of appointments set, number of appointments kept, and number of agents signed up, and hit submit, and it goes in. So I don't know how to make it more simple than that. I think it's pretty simple. I guess more simple would be not tracking anything, but when you track it, it creates awareness, and awareness is what creates accountability. You know, I can't make, you look, for those of you who are going to get ready to meet Rachel, you're going to realize really fast that I can't make Rachel do anything she doesn't want to do. And so all I can do is create awareness where she can see things clearly, and then she makes the necessary changes in her business to have growth. Does that make sense? So why we track numbers is so you become aware. It's not so anybody can beat you up or hold you accountable. It's just because we want to have awareness. Awareness is such a critical piece of what happens when you're in coaching, when you have accountability. So let's just get into it. All I can tell you is get into it. I would have each of my business consultants get in there and just share with their brokers how to do it and put their numbers in and give them a call each week and see if they're in there. Let's see if we can get some momentum going here, because I promise you, as you track your numbers and you focus on setting the appointments, you're going to receive more opportunities to add agents to your account. And so this is a little bit more about Rachel. Rachel is the broker owner of Remax of Grand Rapids. She took over the brokerage in 2015 with 104. She has 3 offices, 104 agents. She trains her agents, every single one of them, like they're her own. She was awarded Broker of the Year 4 out of 5 years out of 100 offices. Her agents sell 3 times as much as agents outside her offices in her market. And so from a market share and productivity perspective, she just absolutely dominates it. And so Rachel, welcome to the call today. I just want to let you say hi to everybody and appreciate you spending your valuable time with us.
Yeah, thanks, Verl. I'm excited to be here with all of you guys and glad to have all of you guys on the call. This is great stuff. So really excited to be here. Thank you.
And so Cleve, what I'd like you to do, if you don't mind, because you've had such a tremendous impact on Rachel's growth in her business, I would like you to just interact with Rachel as you ask her questions and kind of take her through the things that you guys have done together and where you've had success, and maybe share with where you've had some challenges.
Love it. Will do.
So are you seeing my screen, Cleve?
Yeah. So are you saying you want me to talk to Rachel about what's on the slide?
Yep.
Oh, got it. I'm sorry. I didn't understand. You didn't tell me you wanted me to do your job for you. You should have just said that.
You know, I went for a walk this morning. I'm kind of tired, and I got you on. It's silly to me to talk and try and get what you did with Rachel. I'd like you to just kind of.
No, well, it's really good. So let's just let Rachel talk for just a minute. She tries to make sure that she's providing better support to the agents who join her firm, to the agents who are already there. She walks the walk and talks the talk. I mean, she doesn't just give it lip service. In a lot of cases, brokers will say they're providing what agents want, But the truth is that what they're providing is so far off of what agents want that there's no real connection there at all. So Rachel, tell us about sort of the support staff that you have in place to take care of all your agents.
So yeah, I was just joking before we started the call that I'm on a mastermind with some Remax brokers, and they all laugh at me because I never go in the office, and I'm usually at the pool, or I'm in my car, or I'm at home. And part of that is because I have invested a lot of time and energy into building up my staff so that they can support our agents and give the agents what they need. I am big time on maximizing my time as much as possible and utilizing people. We invest in our people, but if we really allow them the opportunity to thrive, then that's the way our agents thrive in our office, is through the staff. The agents would rather see the staff than me most of the time. Most of the time, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, we have an agent care coordinator. She's the one who mentors all of our agents from the start, whether they're a new agent or an agent that's coming from a different brokerage. She basically helps provide them all the administrative tools to start their business. She uses the AMP program to teach them how to set their business up as a business. And then we also recently hired, actually a year and a half ago now, a seasoned agent who is actually retiring, and he mentors all of our agents that are brand new, which helps circumvent a lot of questions to me because I am the designated realtor right now. And then also we have a full-time trainer. And so I actually only train 2 times a month.
Let me interrupt for just a second. So your agent care coordinator, how long has she been with you?
Our agent care coordinator has been with us for 4 years.
And how do you keep somebody in a position like that for like 4 years? Because she's a great person, but you have to create the right environment for her. So what is that right environment that makes her want to stay there?
I think the culture, and she believes in the mission. Her gift is to help others. And our mission for our brokerage is to maximize our agents' time doing the dollar producing activities, listing, prospecting, and selling so that they can live abundant lives. And all of our staff believes in that mission and they want to give back. So we hire specifically with the DISC profile testing, and we also try to get people who fit the positions in a position where they want to help and create more wealth for our agents.
Yep. So let's look under the covers for just a second with the mentor agent, because a lot of people, it shows it's real easy. So you just kind of you use the watering can that's on your head and you water the plant on the mentor agent and you help people grow. It's just that easy. Look at the graphic. The truth is that you looked around for a long time before you found this person. And it was not the first or second one that you hired. It was probably the third or fourth option that we hired. So talk about the process of finding that mentor agent and having somebody that's at the right place, right time in their career where all they value is what you need them to do anyway.
So I specifically handpicked all of my staff from people that I knew, or they were clients of mine, or, in my sphere. So I kind of knew their personalities, but I also really vet people before I hire them on.
Yeah.
So Cleve, you taught me how to do that.
No, so the reality is that we tried 2 or 3 people to get them to help with recruiting and bring on agents and mentor them, and it didn't work. But we kept looking and we kept talking to people, and you just identified somebody sort of out of the blue that was interested in doing that. It's just because you kept looking, you knew what you wanted to do, and it really is making a huge difference in your business. You have an amazing full-time trainer who does BAM live. Yes.
Just before you move on, what I think it's really important for brokers to understand how you compensate a mentor agent. How does that person get paid, right? So if I want to hire someone who's retiring to be the mentor of my agents, how do you pay him and how does it work in the Remax system? I'm just curious. I mean, that to me, I want to know, I'm doing the details on how to implement.
Our mentor agent actually only gets paid on a transaction basis for the agents that come on board that are brand new on their closings. They have a 1-year period that they sign an agreement that they're going to work in that program with our mentor. And so there's clear expectations on that. And then he just gets paid on a closing basis. And then he also, if he hires on a new agent, then he'll get paid a bonus on that.
What, can I ask you what the split is between the agent and the mentor?
He gets It works out to be roughly $1,000 per transaction overall on average.
No, that's great. So if he's got how many agents can he mentor? How many,
He
like,
generally has about 10 at a time.
I mean, if the goal is to get them all to 2 deals a month to start, that's a great income.
Yep. And he likes doing it too. I mean, that's what he wants to do. He wants to pour into people.
I love that. If you have questions for Rachel and for Cleve as we're going through this, type them in the chat box and we'll monitor that as we're going. I'm genuinely curious. I'll have questions too, Cleve. I don't mean to interrupt you, but thank you for breaking that down for me, Rachel.
Oh, you're all good. Let's move on to the full-time trainer position. Rachel, you and Dave have an amazing trainer who does a lot of your stuff, your proprietary training that you put out there, but also the Ramp Live, BAM Live, Slam Live. How did you get such a good trainer? How do you make that program successful? Because I know a lot of brokers, they hire somebody to train and they always feel like their trainer is not doing justice, meaning, I can train so much better than my trainer. It's kind of a waste of time for the trainer to be training. So how did you get yourself mentally over that? And how did you create a successful person for that position?
Well, she does a lot of public speaking, so she's already gifted in that area. And then also her mindset is always to pour into people too. And so she was a client of mine, and I knew exactly what I wanted for our trainer, and she is phenomenal. So the Workman system has been great for us because she went through the whole training system in order to be a facilitator of the Workman program, and people really like her. And she likes doing the training. So it works out great. She's a motivator.
Rachel was one of I think she was one of the top 5 or the first 5 people to actually get an enterprise. When we first launched this to Remax, she was one of the first ones that stepped in and said, I want this for my, like yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for Slam, we hosted Slam before the shutdown here in Michigan. And like one of our teams had all their people go through, they're up over 220,000 year over year just from taking the program. We've got individual agents that were brand new in the business that are at 56,000 more in volume than they were the year before. And so it's been a great thing. Like you can see tangible results from them going through that program.
And I think, Rachel, your entire brokerage is up 14%, I believe, as of we looked at the last numbers when the market overall is down year to date. Am I right? Yes, yep. Amazing. Yeah. So we do have a question. We've got a couple questions, Verl, if you want to look in there. Somebody was asking about pay, how they pay the trainer. And then we've got another question that just came in as well.
I don't know. I can't see my message board while I'm sharing my screen. So
let's see here. Stacy Gillen wants to know, what do they pay the trainer, the full-time trainer?
All of my staff besides my mentor agent are on salary. And so do they get paid $400,000 a year or $4,000 a year? No, $50,000 a year.
Got it. So it's $50,000 with an opportunity for some bonuses here or there for different things, something like that. So you always try to have an incentive program. And then a question for you is, my brokerage is currently at about 17 agents. This is from John. Another 4 in training now. Any suggestions on how a small brokerage can create this training mentoring positions like this? I am not financially able to hire a full-time trainer. I wish. There's a guy named Chance Brown who's visiting me in Atlanta today. And if he comes back in my office in a few minutes, I'll ask him to chime in, because he's, as Rachel and I both know, he's got a great program for working on mentor agents. But do you have an answer to that, Rachel?
So our trainer in specifically, are you asking about? Or
no, this is a gentleman who's saying, I only have 17 agents, 4 agents in training now. How can I put together a mentor program when I can't hire a full-time trainer?
So the mentor program, I think you can use an agent that's selling to start. Mm-hmm. That's the situation that we had. It was an agent that was nearing retirement. He just wanted to take people under his wing, and we're just paying him on a per agent basis. So as soon as he recruits someone, or he's, the agent's closing a deal, you're taking that money out of that agent's split. But as far as our trainer goes, we actually started her as administrative staff, and I got her licensed. So she was able to learn the business first, and then we transitioned her into a training specifically role. And that helped, I think, because the agents then believed that she knew what she was doing. So
Yeah.
she did a lot of compliance stuff for us.
I love that. John is adding here. I have mentor agents now and pay them a 20% split when something closes on the first 5 deals. And John, that mirrors probably one of the most successful mentor programs that I have seen put in place at a brokerage in Houston. Used to not even be on the top 10 list. I think last month they were the 15th largest brokerage in the city of Houston. And that's a big, big deal when you got a metro area that's that large. And so they have a mentor-mentee program. And what I will tell you is this: there's certain things that your mentee agents need to learn. And I'm assuming that you probably have those things in writing, and you have some way, or you need some way for you to keep up with what that mentor agent is teaching the mentee agents. And so in Chance Brown's program, they have, here are the things we need to teach them from a brokerage standpoint. Here are the things we need to teach them from a basic market standpoint. And then here are all the things we need them to learn from the Workman Success Systems Training Center, from the enterprise. And so Chance can see every single week exactly where everybody is in their development program. And his goal is to get them through the training program and out within 6 months. So John, I don't know if that's helpful, but that's what they do there, and it works out very successful. And then what he did over time is he grew his agent count, and he's up to over 300 now. He actually brought in, so he has 6 or 7 mentors, and then he has one person who manages all the mentors for him, and it works out really well. And then you want to talk real quickly, Rachel, about your tech specialist, and then we can move on to the next slide.
So yeah, we Christy is our tech specialist. So we actually call her our director of RE/MAX services. And so one of the things that always came to me for a long period of time before I really invested in my people was questions about tech. And quite frankly, I'm not that techie. And I don't like to answer those questions. And so she learned all the RE/MAX systems, and she loves it. And so even our top team leaders right now are utilizing a lot of the RE/MAX stuff. And that was one of the things that we invested in this past year, was really making sure everybody knew what was available to them, and then sitting down with them one-on-one and doing it with them, because the agents won't do it.
So Rachel, such an interesting concept. We've got a great brand that provides all kinds of great behind the scenes services. And I'm telling you, if you go to your average brokerage, and this sounds terrible, it sounds like I'm being disrespectful to your average broker, and I'm not, but their agents aren't aware of half the things that RE/MAX from a national standpoint does for them, or their region does for them, or their broker owner does them. And one of the things you guys do is you take all of the little systems and programs and tools, and you put together local documents, local one-page feature sheets, local whatever you want to call them, so that people can really see, oh my gosh, look at all this stuff I have. So I love that, and I hope everybody's listening to, you have got to fully sell what you have before you spend any time worrying about what you don't have, especially when you're in a model like the RE/MAX model. Don't you agree, Rachel?
Yeah, I mean, for the first couple of years, we kept trying to recreate the wheel, and then we were like, forget this. Now we're back to the basics. Let's just use what we have. The Workman system is great because we can just send people to the Success Max system, and they can learn, A to Z about real estate without us doing it for them.
Yep.
So
Love it.
So Cleve, I love what Rachel just said about the director of RE/MAX services.
Yes.
And I almost think that even if you're a smaller brokerage, we think about the administrator that's sitting at the front desk, or maybe you've got 2 people on staff. Maybe taking one of those people like Rachel's doing, so you don't necessarily have to go out and get another person, but really calling them the director of RE/MAX services and have them really learn all those tools and services that not only LLC provides, but Integra provides.
Yep.
Yes, they may still do some other things in your brokerage because that's the need based on your size. But sometimes a title alone can give this boost to an administrator that makes them feel like when they sit at the dining room table with their family, they're not going, I'm an admin. They go, no, I'm a director of RE/MAX services. Oh, what does that mean? And they get this glow and this excitement about being a part of a growing brokerage, even if it's only 5 agents. So I love that, Rachel. Like, I wrote that down and thought to myself, that could be a huge game changer, just changing our mindset a little bit on how we really interact with our staff and what the value of what they can do with our tools and services.
And
So
Stacy,
love
if I could add to that, those are such great points. And I know that your average broker is always frustrated, or your average entrepreneur is always frustrated because they cannot get people to develop. And what you just said was give them an opportunity to grow into their own position. And I know one of the things that Rachel and Dave and I used to struggle with is, here is your job description. These are the things you need to do, which is not always the healthiest way to do it. And so what they try to do is say, here is what we expect the outcome to be from your position. So we expect, 80% of our agents to know about these programs, whatever it is. And I'm just making that up. But if you start with, here's what I want you to accomplish for our brokerage, I think people are always amazed at how creative people can be on their own. And when they start taking ownership, when they're sitting at the kitchen table and they're like, I'm a this and a that and the other thing, I mean, that is a good thing for your business when you get people to start to do that. And it's hard.
I love that.
Rachel, any thoughts on that?
No, I think that's great. I mean, I always say that I sometimes don't manage my people. Well, I think manage is a bad word, but I don't give enough direction for my people. I let them be super creative with their jobs, and that actually has helped in a lot of ways. But they do take ownership of stuff. They do step up.
Let's explore what you just said for just a second. Go ahead, Verl.
Well, okay, finish this topic and then I'll come back to me, okay?
So your typical entrepreneur has a very specific way of managing and leading people. They give them no advice or guidance. And as soon as they mess up, they point it out. And they do it over and over and over again. And the typical entrepreneur thinks they're helping. Well, I'm telling them it's wrong. It is wrong. So I'm not hurting anybody. I'm just telling them it's wrong. And then they don't understand why 3 or 4 months from now, they don't even want to be in the same room with you because you keep pointing out all of their flaws. And so what Rachel has really worked on and what Dave has really worked on is front loading the leadership program. Now listen to that again. I'm saying front loading it. Tell them what you want. Tell them how you're going to measure them and give them something so that they can even measure themselves so you don't have to do it. And it is freaking tough because I will tell you, I love Rachel like a sister and we have great phone calls, but sometimes she gets just like out of her brain because she can't get people to do what they're supposed to do. And then we just back up and say, are you front loading that process? Are you telling them what you expect and being very clear? Because that's what makes all the difference in the world. Am I right, Rachel?
That's right. Yeah.
And you're like every other entrepreneur that I've ever met. I mean, like everybody that's an entrepreneur is wired up the same. Sorry, Verl.
No, it's all really very powerful. One of the things Rachel talked about on the previous slide, if I went back a slide, she talked about onboarding and what happens when somebody comes on and having consistency in the process. And so with the agent care coordinator that onboards them. So we put in to this, and I'll give this all to you as a download, our the Workman Success new agent onboarding process. So it's all of the things that you can use to tie in what we're doing. And I want you to, it's editable. So I'll give it to you in a format that you can add the local things that are important to you in your office, but give you some onboarding tools. I want to give you some resources as a result of you being here, not just tell you about them, but actually give you the things you need to be able to succeed with it. And so Rachel, let's get into your life stuff for just a minute. Almost everybody on here has access to the training center now through Integra. Integra put out an incredible deal that made, I think we have close to 100 of their offices inside the training center now, which is a great start for their region. How are you using the live classes? Would you mind just breaking them down a little bit, explain what they are and how you use them and what the agents get if they attend them?
So yeah, we ran BAM and SLAM, and we're getting ready to run RAMP. We've had about 25 to 30 agents, and we've only done BAM once and SLAM once, but 25 to 30 agents participating. Our trainer, like I mentioned, is awesome. We had so much energy in those classes. We had some very seasoned agents. We had a lot of new agents in it, but they just formed relationships and they held each other accountable. The live classes were awesome because our trainer would go through all the points every single time, and everybody has to, stand up and say what they did the week before. And it was great. At the end, we had a bunch of sponsors who donated prizes, and we did a live auction at the end, which was awesome. It was just great to see the agents interacting and celebrating their accomplishments. So it's been really rewarding. We have, like I said, we have the success system, and we have 92 agents in that. So on top of just being a part of the live events, we also have the agents in the success system and the training center, and they're using that on a regular basis. So everybody's very familiar with the Workman system and the language behind it. That's the other thing I do with my staff. I teach my staff to talk exactly like Cleve teaches me to talk, and use the Workman systems over and over again instead of trying to recreate the wheel. So
I got to show you this, Rachel. You know, Nate Martinez and Sarah Michelle Bliss, they just finished their first ramp class that was done 100% virtual. This is their dashboard for the class. They said 178 appointments, 88 new agreements, 57 properties under contract, 222 closings, 67 million in volume, and 1.7 million in gross closed income during the 10 weeks of the class. That's like, wow. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, when you see the numbers, and for those of you that have your facilitators trained, they get access to the dashboards and the leaderboards and all of this stuff to gamify the whole program. And it is just unbelievable to see those kinds of numbers come in after running. This is a 100-day program in Ramp Live. So get ready for Ramp Live. It's a game changer. You're going to love running that in your offices.
Hey, Verl, I want to add something. One of the things that Rachel just said, and it is such a key, and I think so many broker owners and entrepreneurs miss it, is number one, you got to keep everything simple. And number two, you got to keep covering the same crap over and over and over and over. So if you want to be a great business leader, then Verl, you and I are having a conversation. And if I tell you something, I have to know beyond the shadow of a doubt you have absolutely no idea what I've told you. And it's not a problem. You and I are on the same page with most things, but I have to understand you're coming at it from your perspective, and I need to continue to message that same message over and over and over. So people say, well, how do you make agents successful? Well, in my opinion, you make an agent successful because they get out and meet with more buyer or seller prospects face to face. And there's no other metric in the conversion process that is more important. And so it's like, okay, well, I'll tell people for a couple of months to meet with more people face to face and everything will be fine. Because life gets in the way. So they forget it. They forget that they have a specific thing they need to be doing. Just like if you're going to recruit, the only thing that drives recruits is how many people do you get face to face with? Because if you get face to face with enough, even if you're the worst recruiter in the world, you will recruit. Period. And so Rachel had to deal with all of the frustration, that mental brain damage, that anguish, that, oh my God, I can never get anybody to do anything. And she had to say, what's my role in that? Meaning, why, so if this doesn't work, I give them a new answer, and then I give them a new answer, and I give them a new answer. The answer is always the same, and you can give them the same answer over and over and over again.
So Rachel, out of curiosity, as you have done so well with recruiting, do you go after experienced agents, or do you go after new agents and try and train them? What's your philosophy?
We primarily focus on experienced agents. It's not that we don't take new agents, but we vet them really well before we take them on, because our goal is to have our agents all averaging 26 transactions next year. That's what we've been at for the last several years. And so we really want our agents doing at least 3 times as much as the competitors in the area. So when we do take new ones on, they have, strict requirements on staying on. But we mostly organically grew. I mean, we're definitely proactive in our recruiting efforts, but a lot of our recruiting efforts are focused on just giving the agents outside of our brokerage items of value. And we get complimented all the time that your stuff is actually valuable to me. And we give it without asking for appointments. And we congratulate agents. And we just treat them like they're important. And that's how we've gotten most of our seasoned agents to move over.
I love that. Would you mind just sharing some of the things you would give away? Give me some samples of some of the things you might give away.
Well, this is a really simple one. And actually, we just started this year, and it's been phenomenal. We take the top 100 in our association, and write a handwritten note just congratulating them every single month on being in the top 100. And along with that, we send over the printout of the top 100 and highlight the name of the agent that we're sending it to. And we send those out every single month. Our association they got word from other brokers that they didn't like it, that we were doing that. And so our association made a rule we couldn't do it unless we got permission. So we sent it out to every single person who's in the top 200 and asked if they would be okay on being on the list. And now nearly every single month, we have multiple agents who post them on Facebook, their stats, this thing that actually my husband Dave writes the note. And they'll post the printout with our logo on it, with their name from a different brokerage on where they were in that top 100. And that has been huge. Everybody wants to be on the list. We're getting natural Facebook organic growth through that. And it's been nice to see.
What a great idea.
In Verl, they also incorporate some real workman tools. So let's just take, for example, the ABCs of lead management and how you specifically categorize leads and how you make sure people follow up. Well, everybody that co-ops with them, boom, they get a thank you email that says, hey, by the way, we're giving away a free tool of the month, ABCs of lead management. If you want it, let me know. We'll get it to you. We can have a conversation with you. They are incorporating it in their email mass newsletter that goes out. They are incorporating the same thing in their live face-to-face training or their live virtual training they're doing, so that they can bring people in. And so when you gave her bio slide, you said she's training other people's agents like they're her agent. That's exactly their whole recruiting philosophy, is let's train other people's agents better than they train them, and then they will become your agent.
Yes.
I love that. I love that you don't have to make stuff up. You just go in and grab a tool, share it. And I encourage that. And I hope that you'll do that. I didn't mean to, this is just what comes when you do a live course. Like everything gets shipped to your agents. It's like it's the manuals, the course material, the instructor guides are done, all of the decks for teaching the class, everything is built into the program. You don't have to think about how to deliver this stuff. Just start doing it. And then there's tons of digital documents. I'm going to skip through this really fast because Rachel did a good job talking about it. But once you unlock once you go through the facilitator program, it just unlocks all your content. You get everything. And so I don't know if everybody really realizes the power of the tools they have at their fingertips. All they have to do is get engaged and get into it and start really discovering it. And there's new stuff all the time, isn't there, Rachel? There's like, as soon as you think you're done, we are adding something new.
Yeah. And I mean, it's really nice and it's well put together. I mean, you really don't have, it's all just at your fingertips and it looks very professional. So
I'd like, and I know Cleta, you have some thoughts on this too, but I would love it if you talk about some of the RE/MAX systems that you utilize from a recruiting and retention perspective. What are some of the things that you really love that are making a difference from a RE/MAX tools perspective?
Honestly, I'm really impressed with how Lead Street has come over the last 5 years. When I originally moved over to RE/MAX, I was like, this is kind of clunky, but I'm really impressed with what it's done. And our new agents, at least, we really utilize that a lot and we direct them back to that because it's a sticky point. And then one of the things that I'm most excited about, which is new, and I think everybody has it, but is the First IO app, which is phenomenal. I know I have a difficult time, convincing agents to just do 61 points, but then they always say, who do I call? Well, that First IO app, if you're not using it, it's phenomenal. It just gives you, through whatever algorithm that they have online, they find out who's going to be the most likely to sell in the next couple of years, and it will just put it on the top of your list. And so if they're struggling with who to call, I would sign up for it. I mean, our agents, even our top producing agents, and this is one of the best features about it, is it will scrub your contact list and it will update your agent's client list so that they know what is their most recent address. And that's phenomenal. How many times do you have agents that have really outdated contact lists? So if you're not using it, it's great. I'm a big believer in the RE/MAX tool. So
Rachel, it's so funny when they came out with First IO, I remember it being launched. All of our RE/MAX people went nuts. Like, oh, nobody else gets this. Look what I can do with my database. It was like the topic of our coach training. I was like, oh my gosh, that's enough already. But the reality is it's a secret weapon, unfair competitive advantage.
So Verl,
was one of them.
Story from the other side. I ran into a big Century 21 franchise in Metro Atlanta, and he was devastated that his firm was not going to be able to use First IO after another 4 or 5 months because it had been bought with Remit. He was literally depressed. I thought he was going to start crying during the call because that was the cornerstone of how they were growing their business.
Yeah, it's an incredible tool. So I hope you're using it. And then Lead Street also, I've been involved with Remax for 20 years, and I've watched a lot of tools come and go. Lead Street is definitely, they've been investing in it, and it's been interesting to watch the power of the tool as it continues to get better and better.
Yep.
Do you have any other favorite tools that you like, Cleve or Rachel, that you like to use at Remax?
Seller reports. Within Lead Street or Max Center, you can set up seller reports for your agents. So we do that automatically for all of our agents. So every time they have a listing, they get updates. Their client gets updates on the new listings that came up in the area. They get updates on the price drops that came in the area, and we send that out on behalf of them. So it's a touch for that agent. It looks like it's coming from the agent. The agents are like, wow, this is amazing. And then it leads that seller down the path of self-discovery when it comes to needing to drop the price. So something really simple that you can use and just do on behalf of your agents.
So I love that. And I'm going to, as I transition from, so there's a couple of things that have really resonated with me today. One is that I have a specialist in the office that is a specialist in Remax tools, and that we actually use them and know how to use them and talk intelligently about them when we're incorporating those things together. And the other thing is the culture of mentoring, that it's okay to have someone who's got some more experience than you working with you. Those are two big things. You've been a coaching client for 5 years is a long time. I mean, you'd think you'd fire your coach by now. Has it been easy, Rachel? Tell me a little bit about your experience.
I'd fire my coach.
Look, Cleve beats me up sometimes, but in a good way, like in a positive way. He's a lot like me. And so I think that's a good thing, because then I sometimes can see things that I don't normally see about myself. One of the things he told me early on was, Rachel, you have the ability to walk in a room and you can actually brighten that room, or you can destroy that room just by walking in that door. And those are, that's feedback that me being a high D entrepreneur needs to hear. I need to know that I need to check myself before I walk in the door, because most of the time, like Cleve says, it's my issue. And I'm not just saying the things over and over that I need to, and understanding that other people hear things differently than me. And so that's been great. And then also we have the dynamic of running a business together as husband and wife, which Cleve will tell you has been a challenge for us, but maybe Cleve can talk about that a little bit.
Oh, so I mean, the issue is, when you have spouses trying to work together running something, everybody needs to have a position. And unfortunately, when all of Dave's positions require Rachel to be his supervisor or vice versa, it just does not work. And so we had to figure out, what does Rachel do? What does Dave do? How do we work it out? And we've spent years working on that, trying to make it right. And, while everybody else was having issues last year, I think you guys were the #1 recruiting brokerage in the state. Verl, you might have already mentioned that. And we didn't just automatically turn that on. It took us a couple of years to put those programs in place and get buy-in from Dave and have him move forward. And it's amazing to see how competent he is at doing that, because 2 years ago, he had no confidence at all that he was going to be good at it. That's my thought.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned a high D personality type, and Rachel, it's our blessing and it's our curse when you want to be in charge all the time, and that's good because you see the vision and you drive things forward. And where it's challenging to us that are high Ds is that the people around us don't get an opportunity to shine. And so we have to be really intentional about pulling back and letting him be great. Dave is exceptional. And he, as it's been every interaction I've had with him, every time we've sat down, I'm like, wow, this is a smart dude. And it's really fun to see him excelling in the areas of the business where he's now got clear responsibility. And I'm not surprised at all. And I think it's probably been good for your marriage too, to have clearly defined roles at the office. I don't know, but I hope so.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So what's down the road for you? Give me your vision of the next 3 to 5 years. What do you expect to have happen? What are you wanting to build?
Well, we are not looking to be a mega brokerage, I would say, but we want to grow. We want a growth plan of at minimum 25 agents a year. for the next 3 to 5 years. We are currently at capacity at 2 of our offices. One, we have some room. So we want to continue to fill that. We built a brand new office 2 years ago, and then we just built out a new office at one of our locations, but we're already getting at capacity. So there might be growth as far as buildings go, but mostly agent count, and then just really high professional, high ethics agents that are doing it full time is really our goal. For the next
How much of a focus do you put in your coaching calls and in your year ends on profitability? Do you look at that? Are you focused on it?
Yeah, Cleve keeps us focused on that. And so, yes, I mean, we need to have, we had a goal of 12% in profitability this year, and we're getting to that point. So
During the pandemic, it's gotten better and better because they've had some opportunities to decrease some expenses, and they've increased some revenue. And we're working on some long-term kind of strategically rearranging expenses. Rachel, is that a good way to say that? Trying to make sure that we're getting the future expense structure so that it works for the business.
yes, exactly. I mean, we want to be able to have something that's sellable at the end of the day. And Cleve always says you're not in business to not make money, right? And so,
Right,
yes.
right.
Restructured, we've leased out space, we've done everything that we could to try and increase profitability.
Well, I love that. And I love that you're focused on it. And I appreciate you just being willing to be open and share. I want to give everybody, I'm looking for, you know what, where's my, hey, John, this is an interesting slide here. Sorry, I got to find this. It skipped for me. So I'm just going to go forward for a second. Here, let me do it like this. There's not a landing page on my slide. There's not an address. Oh, it'll come as an email. All right, for all of you that are here, sorry, for all of you that are on the call, we'll send you an email because you registered for the call today, and we'll give you a link that you can just download the 14-day onboarding. And if you want to know what it's like to work with somebody like a Cleve or one of our workman coaches, reach out for a consult. We'd love to talk to you. Whether or not you ever come into coaching, I promise that the call that we have together will give you some ideas and some thoughts and some things you can do that will help you grow over the next few months. I want to share something with you, with all of you. This was our numbers from the maximum velocity recruiting program. And I know that you know that that's not great, that we don't have a lot of engagement. I just want you to encourage, you guys are all friends with each other's brokers. Get out there and have some fun. Let me show you what happens when people get engaged. So we launched on Friday, a 120-day listing challenge using the same app with just a small group of people. And so with that small group of people using the same app, we've done a program. We believe that if we want to come out of this pandemic and have an unbelievable fourth quarter, we have to be and own the inventory. If we don't own the inventory, there's such a lack of it that we're going to be chasing deals. And so we put together it's a 50-page ebook. It's a whole program on how to list. It's a 120-day listing challenge. And we're using the same app to track. Now, these are my numbers since Friday. So just for 3 days. And these are the people that are putting in their numbers. They're tracking their daily success habits. They're tracking their listing appointments that they've gotten. So how many listing appointments since Friday have you been able to schedule because of your prospecting? It is interesting that the people on the leaderboard are scheduling the most appointments. And how many listing appointments did you complete? How many new listings did you get as a result of it? How many new listing dollar volume? What was the listing count sold? And I'm able to track this. And we have some incredible resources that I want to share with Integra. But I need to be able to see some level of engagement at the brokerage level so that we can get engagement at the agent level and we can help everybody dominate in your markets. But I need you guys to just get into it. And there's there's nothing I can do on my end to give you more resources or more tools. We made a commitment at the beginning of this pandemic that we were just going to give. And Fiona and I actually talked about it. Like, I'm not going to charge to do webinars. We're going to make a screaming deal on the training center. And we're just going to pour into our regions because we believe that as we come out of this pandemic and business gets back to normal, there's going to be a tremendous pent-up demand for the services that we charge for, like our coaching and consulting services. And so you have a very cool window of opportunity right now to take advantage of our desire to just help you. And that's a genuine, sincere desire. Bill, as you're looking at this, isn't this cool?
Yeah, very cool information there.
And so it's just, and I can track it by brokerage, I can track it by team leader, and I can track it by agent. So I'm able to go in. We've actually broken this down by coach. So this is all just launched to our coaching clients. So I can download it by coach, and then I can see all of my coaches who are on the leaderboard. And it's nice to see Cleve getting on the leaderboard. He didn't even tell his people about it till yesterday, I think. And so now you're on the leaderboard, Cleve. Good job.
Thank you. Woo!
Hey, my name's not on there. I don't understand why I'm not on the leaderboard. I'm going to get my clients on there. Well, the bottom line today, folks, is that we wanted to give you some things that would help you cut through the noise, help you understand the value of the tools and resources you have with Remax, with Integra, and with Workman Success Systems. There is no, I believe this, that you could drop me off. I know I could drop Rachel off or Cleve off in any of your markets and set appointments to come and talk about why it makes sense to join your company, and we'd be able to win in a competitive environment. You have all of the resources to dominate in your marketplace. It's just a matter of whether or not you're willing to roll up your sleeves and get to work. I want to just, I want to open up the call for anybody that has any questions for Rachel or for Cleve, just for the last couple of minutes before we wrap up. You can raise your hand. Let's just talk about it. Bill, what do you think of content today? Let's unmute Bill. I always like to hear from Bill. Did you learn anything from you today?
Yeah, I did. I love some of those ideas that Rachel gave us about the top 100. I love that. I'm going to try to implement that and start doing that.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Very effective.
Travis, anything resonate with you today?
Yeah, the funny thing is I really love that too, because that could be I can apply that in my market with the top 100. But the other things I liked are the general energy and the positivity. And I think just keep it going, right?
Yeah, I love that you pick up on that. The energy, we have a choice, don't we, every day to get up and choose. And Rachel talked about when she walks in a room, she can destroy the room or she can bring that room up. That's a choice. And we all have that ability to make that choice. And I love that, Rachel, that you choose to bring us up today. So thank you for that. Final thoughts, Fiona? I love you nodding and being engaged, and I really appreciate you being here.
No, it's my absolute pleasure. I appreciate everybody on this Zoom meeting, and taking the time out of what is an incredibly busy market, and sharing, which is what we do at Remax. Like, the strength of our network is our network. It's the great minds, the great spirits, the great hearts that our network has. And I'd like to thank you, Verl, for sort of setting these really valuable webinars up. I wish more people attended because they're missing out on gold. Special thanks to Rachel. Thank you so very much for sharing. I'm going to be calling on you, just so you know.
Thank you.
I told Rachel, be careful, because I'll put you out there. We're going to make you famous. You're going to be on.
No, yeah, Rachel, strap your seatbelt on, girlfriend.
Well, I only got where I got because of the Workman Network and the Remax Network and everybody helping me. And so I love the idea that we have this network of people that we can share with.
It's really awesome. Yeah.
And thank you. And
very exciting.
Your energy today too. I loved you taking notes and picking things up. I think it was just great. If I didn't get a chance to call on you, it's just because we're out of time. I want to say on behalf of everybody at Integra, thanks for letting me be part of your family. And I hope that you get the spirit of what we're trying to accomplish. We just want to serve and help you all grow. And the more opportunities we get to do that, I believe that the business takes care of itself. So thanks, everybody. Our next call on the 14th of October is going to be growing in a highly competitive market. And so how do you kick butt when it's so competitive out there? We're going to talk about, and I'm going to have experts with me on that one as well. And we're going to talk about how we grow. So thanks, everybody. I'll see you all soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.